In ancient times, Israel was a united kingdom under kings David and Solomon. After Solomon's reign, however, the nation split, and 10 of Israel's 12 tribes seemed to vanish from history. These tribes were scattered, and their fate remains a mystery. The Bible presents these tribes as foundational to God's plan, chosen with a unique purpose. But due to rebellion and sin, they were eventually dispersed across distant lands, leaving us to wonder about their present-day descendants. Could these lost tribes be scattered across the world, and could their reappearance be part of God's plan for the end times? Let's explore the biblical story, history, and the prophetic significance of these 10 lost tribes. The formation of the 12 tribes of Israel. The roots of Israel's 12 tribes go back to Jacob, grandson of Abraham. Jacob, whose name God changed to Israel after he wrestled with God, Genesis 32 verse 28, had 12 sons. Each son became the founder of a tribe. Here are the 12 tribes and the names of the sons who founded them: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Joseph, represented by his sons Ephraim and Manasseh, who each received their own inheritance. Together, these tribes formed the nation of Israel. In the beginning, they lived under one kingdom, but later, after King Solomon's reign, this unity was broken. The nation split into two kingdoms: the southern kingdom of Judah, home to the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, and the northern kingdom of Israel, which included the remaining 10 tribes. The division and scattering of the northern kingdom. The Bible tells us that because of the sins and disobedience of the northern kingdom, their destiny took a dark turn. Idolatry and rebellion against God became widespread in the northern tribes. Prophets like Hosea and Amos warned them to return to God, but their warnings went unheeded. Eventually, God allowed the Assyrian Empire to invade Israel as judgment. In 2 Kings 17 verse 6, it says, "In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria captured Samaria and deported the Israelites to Assyria. He settled them in Hala, in Gozan on the Haber River, and in the towns of the Medes." This invasion led to the scattering of the 10 tribes across the Assyrian Empire. Over time, they lost their distinct identity, and people began to refer to them as the lost tribes of Israel. But are they truly lost, or are they waiting to be revealed in the end times? Where did the 10 lost tribes go? Despite the apparent disappearance of these tribes, some Jewish traditions suggest they weren't entirely lost. Many believe that these tribes were dispersed among the nations, where they awaited a future time of restoration. In recent centuries, groups from various parts of the world have claimed to be descendants of these tribes. They have held on to Jewish customs and traditions, even though they lived far from Israel. Let's look at some of these communities. 1. Beta Israel Ethiopian Jews. Claiming descent from the tribe of Dan, this community has a long-standing presence in Ethiopia. The Beta Israel have observed Jewish customs for centuries, including Sabbath observance, circumcision, and kosher dietary laws. In modern times, Israel recognized them as part of the Jewish people, and many were brought to Israel in operations like Operation Moses 1984 and Operation Solomon 1991. 2. B'nai Israel Indian Jews. Found in western India, the B'nai Israel claim descent from the tribe of Ephraim. Their traditions suggest that their ancestors were shipwrecked on the Indian coast. They maintain their Jewish identity by keeping customs like the Sabbath and dietary laws, even though they were isolated from other Jewish communities. Many of them have also immigrated to Israel. 3. Pashtun tribes Afghanistan and Pakistan. Some Pashtun tribes, known as Pathans, believe they are descendants of Ephraim and Manasseh, the sons of Joseph. Their customs include circumcision, avoidance of pork, and other practices that resemble Israelite traditions. They even refer to themselves as Bani Israel, meaning children of Israel. This claim is intriguing, especially considering the tribe's large population in the tens of millions. 4. Igbo Jews, Nigeria. The Igbo people of Nigeria claim a connection to the tribes of Gad and Zebulun. Their customs, such as circumcision, dietary laws, and certain religious festivals, bear similarities to Jewish practices. Some Igbos have even formally converted to mainstream Judaism and emigrated to Israel. 5. Lemba, Zimbabwe and South Africa. The Lemba people, primarily in Zimbabwe and South Africa, claim descent from the tribe of Levi. Their traditions include kosher dietary practices, Sabbath observance, and circumcision. DNA testing has shown that many Lemba carry the Cohen modal haplotype, a genetic marker linked to the priestly line of Aaron. This has led to increased interest in their heritage. Prophecies of the Lost Tribes return. Biblical prophecy describes a future gathering of the lost tribes. One of the most powerful prophecies appears in Ezekiel 37, in the vision of the Valley of Dry Bones. God promises to restore life to the scattered tribes and reunite them with Judah. In Ezekiel 37 verse 22, it says, "I will make them one nation in the land, on the mountains of Israel. There will be one king over all of them, and they will never again be two nations or be divided into two kingdoms." This passage points to a time when the lost tribes will be gathered and restored as a single, unified Israel under the Messiah. Another important prophecy is in Isaiah 11 verse 12. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth. This prophecy suggests that the return will not only include the Jews who were exiled in Babylon, but also the lost tribes of the northern kingdom. Many people see the return of groups like the Beta Israel and the B'nai Israel as part of the unfolding of this prophecy. In Revelation 7, we find another mention of the 12 tribes, where 144,000 people, 12,000 from each tribe, are sealed during the time of the Great Tribulation. Revelation 7 verse 4 says, "Then I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000 from all the tribes of Israel." This reference reinforces the idea that the tribes, including the lost ones, have a place in God's ultimate plan for humanity. The significance of the lost tribes' reappearance. The rediscovery or reappearance of the lost tribes is not just a historical curiosity. It holds profound significance for biblical prophecy and the future. The Bible suggests that the regathering of the tribes will be a sign of the nearing end times. This event will be a supernatural act, emphasizing that God has not forgotten his promises. Isaiah 66 verse 8 prophesies about Israel's sudden rebirth as a nation. Who has ever heard of such things? Who has ever seen things like this? Can a country be born in a day, or a nation be brought forth in a moment? As we witness groups like the Beta Israel, B'nai Israel, Pashtun, Igbos, and Lemba reconnecting with their Jewish heritage, some believe these events may signal the fulfillment of these ancient prophecies. Many Jews and Christians see these developments as a powerful reminder of God's faithfulness and the fulfillment of his promises. The role of the lost tribes in the end times. The Bible suggests that the lost tribes will play a critical role in the Messianic age, or the end times. The prophecies of Ezekiel, Isaiah, and Revelation hint that these tribes will return to Israel and be part of God's kingdom on earth. Their return, and the unification of Israel under the Messiah, will be a key event as God's plan for humanity reaches completion.